Namaste. Welcome to the Soma Matha online Sangha. Join us in practice for inner peace, which brings clarity in life, improving health, relationships, success, and prosperity, and which prepares the mind for true meditation, which awakens intuitive knowing and spiritual sight. Each week we are announcing upcoming events and opportunities to participate in the activities of the Soma Matha organization based near Richmond, Virginia, led by Swami Nithyananda. The Soma Matha is dedicated to spreading authentic teachings on spiritual yoga, mantra, meditation, Ayurveda, and other Vedic sciences for the peace of the world. We are working to build a temple for goddess Shakambhari Devi. Each week, we will be sharing a teaching from Swamiji, doing a group mantra practice and meditation, and conducting a simple puja, or prayer ceremony, for the goddess, to humbly supplicate her to bestow her blessing upon the Sangha. A Sangha is a spiritual community who come together to support one another in their practice. Each individual gains strength in their practice from the collective effort of the group. Sangha feeds our practice. It nourishes us and empowers our efforts. It smooths and balances the challenges we face as it lifts our consciousness into subtler realms. Namaste. My name is Grant Ottinger, and Swami's asked me to broadcast and host the Sangha each week, since internet connection at the property is weak and live broadcast difficult. Swami will be watching and participating in the group practices and sending video teachings for the group each week. To receive, we must give. Our efforts to provide this virtual space and to publish the many free teachings available on the website, YouTube channel, and Facebook pages are dependent upon your support. We encourage all Sangha participants to formalize their connection by becoming Sangha members and pledging their monthly support through our Patreon. There are 5 different tiers of support, so you can contribute according to your ability. All Sangha members will receive access to additional teachings and opportunities for support in their practice, offered through Patreon. If you'd like to deepen your practice and your connection to the Sangha, please visit our Patreon and pledge your support. The link is provided in the description of this live video. For news, the estate sale will be happening in a few weeks, and right now the auction company is taking photographs and preparing to list the items for sale. If you're interested in purchasing any antiques or other items from the property, please watch the social media for when the sale will be live. We are still looking for volunteers to visit the property and help prepare it for sale, as well as help with plants, preparing the plants for transplant. If you are interested, please reach out to us via our website, somamatha.org, linked below. We are also continuing to raise funds to help with recurring bills at the property, as well as funds to purchase a new property. Our goal of raising money to purchase a property suitable for public worship and Vedic ceremony is certainly possible, but may not be easy. As of right now, unless we can raise a lot of money very quickly, we may need to purchase an interim property from which we can continue fundraising to eventually purchase a property suitable for a temple. We would of course prefer to move straight to a suitable property, but it may not be possible right now. Our goal of a temple for the goddess, along with land for animals, flowers, herbs, fruits, space for classes on the many Vedic sciences, is a great one, and it will take effort and support from everyone in the community. Swami has said if we want something in the world, we should work for it. So we are working hard to make our vision a reality, and we pray for grace from the goddess that it may happen. Please visit our website at the Help Us Move page linked below to read more and to donate. And now we will share a recorded teaching from Swamiji.
So the next yama that we'll be discussing is daya. Of course, we're talking about the yamas of yoga, the restraints. It's a preliminary practice which must be done before we do any of the other practices of yoga, the yamas and niyamas. And so in the practice of daya, we restrain ourselves from intolerance, insensitivity. Daya means compassion. Having compassion is a great, great quality. Ultimately, same with ahimsa. You have an easy time practicing any of the other yamas if you have compassion. You could practice just this one, and if you do well in this practice, all the others would follow naturally. When we were speaking about ahimsa, nonviolence, we talked about the concept of duality, and people sense that they are separate from others. We gave the example, if someone hurt their finger, they don't get angry at their finger. Their finger causes them pain, but they don't get angry and try to hurt their finger even more. They try to ease the pain because they view it as a part of themselves. When we overcome the limited sense of duality that identifies with the body, with the name, with one's own family, with the accomplishments one has attained, with one's status in life, then we can start to identify with the true self, the Atman, which is pervading the universe, and then it's easy to have compassion for everybody. With the practice of brahmacharya, celibacy, they say that if men are to look at younger women as a sister and older women as a mother, then the practice of brahmacharya, celibacy, follows easily. Or women, they can look at all younger men as a younger brother, and older men like a father, because then this compassion is there. And with compassion, we think things out. We don't want to take advantage of people for our own sensory pleasure. In this case, we think out the future. We think, is this a wise connection to make? Will this be fulfilling to both of us? Am I realistically able to be committed to this relationship for the rest of my life, or will I have to leave and disappoint the other person? What if the person becomes pregnant? What if the person gets a venereal disease from me? Or whatever. When we think about the person with compassion, many, many times, the desire would go away. We want to protect the sister. We have respect for her. We don't want her to be abused. We want to protect a younger brother. We don't want him to be abused or upset emotionally, hurt physically. It's not natural to act out our selfish desires upon people that we truly, truly have compassion for. If people can stop and think logically like this, it helps a lot. But to have compassion is easy for people that we get along with. It's easy to have compassion for our families. Sometimes people have too much compassion for their families. It's not really compassion, though. It's a false sense of compassion. They always defend them. They defend their faults. They say, well, this is a bad action to steal and to hurt people, but when my family does it, it's okay. I defend them, I'll steal for them. People make exceptions like this, and that's not true compassion. I think people do it in many cases out of fear of being rejected by the family, out of a fear of doing something different, even if it's the right thing. The peer pressure affects people, influences their own decisions and their ability to see things clearly. But really, to be practicing daya, compassion, we've got to have it for everybody. Not just our friends, not just our family, not just those who help us or praise us or promote us, but also for those who oppose us, for those who criticize us, for those who ridicule us, for those who attack us and hurt us. We have to have compassion for them. For those who are doing the wrong things, we've got to be like a loving mother. There's a mother whose son is a terrible criminal. He could be a repeat killer, a serial killer, someone just killing for the pleasure of it. Many people. A mother would look at this person not with hatred, not with disgust. Maybe they'd have some disgust, but there would also be love and compassion. They would say, this is my son. I love this person. I didn't raise him to do these terrible acts. It's a bad thing that he does, but I have compassion. I love him. I don't want him to suffer. The compassionate mother, seeing the fault and the struggle of her child, may want that child to be imprisoned, but not for that child to be punished or murdered. There would be compassion, and the mother would look at it as a psychological disorder, which clearly it must be. To be able to kill repeatedly with little sense of remorse, there's got to be something going on wrong there in that man's mind. And if it cannot be healed for his own good and the good of others around, he should be kept away from the public. But she wouldn't want for him to be executed in anger, like probably the parents of the victims may be wanting for him to be executed in anger. But if you're the parent of the victim also, you should be able to have compassion. This is really necessary for the practice of yoga. Why is it necessary? Because when we practice yoga, when we really practice yoga, I'm not talking about just doing some stretching exercises. I'm talking about doing the higher practices of yoga under the instruction of a guru, as they talk about in the Shastras, in the scriptures on yoga, the Yoga Sutras, the Hatha Yoga, Pradipika, all these texts. They say we must have a guru, and the practice transforms us. It brings us in contact with our divine nature within. The divine is omniscient. The divine is omnipotent, has all knowledge, all power. As we practice yoga, our knowledge increases. And I don't mean like the knowledge you get in a book. I mean like jnana, higher true knowledge. I mean intuitive awareness. A person walks before you and you know their past and their present situation, and you know their future. Just looking at them. You know their fears, you know their faults. You could easily cause a lot of trouble for that person if you wanted to. And you get more power, mystical powers come. You can see around corners. You can know the past and future. You have powers to do things. You can manifest materials in a certain location. You could take materials from a certain location, put it in a different location. You could affect the thoughts of a person. You could influence the actions of a person. We have to have a lot of love, a lot of compassion, a lot of purity. And so a lot of times in the practice of our yoga, we'll be tested. People will come and attack us unfairly, unjustly. People will come and attack us just because we're practicing yoga. Many are the stories of the saints and the yogis when they started to do their sadhana. And I have the same story. When I used to do sadhana, I would sit I'm not saying I'm a saint. I'm not saying I'm a yogi. I'm saying I had the same experience because I was doing a sincere sadhana. But I sat and I would sit by this pond of water in the town where I lived. And it was a natural, well, it was a man-made pond. But I would sit there offering if I had some flower petals, I would say prayers and mantras and offer the flower petals in the water, Om Namaha. And if I didn't have the flower petals, I would pretend I had the flower petals, Om Namaha, and visualize I was offering it to the God in the water and just doing my sadhana, meditating, chanting the mantras. I would sit for 6 hours, 8 hours at a time and just sit in some asana. I'd sit and say the mantras and make the offerings. And many times people would go by and they would yell insults, or they would, they'd throw rocks many times. They'd throw the rocks. And, much worse than that has happened as well. People get very upset. The energy of the spiritual practice stirs up people, and it can cause them to get irrationally upset. And that's all to test a yogi in their practice, to develop more and more compassion. When people that you really like and you really trust betray you, you've got to work extra hard to have the compassion. But it's very simple. If you love yourself, if you truly love yourself, it will naturally follow that you love others, because the nature within your mind is loving. If you hate others, it means you hate yourself. It will cause you, even if you don't hate yourself, by hating others, by being angry toward others, you'll start to become angry at yourself. But generally it's the other way around. People are angry toward others, they hate others because they have hate toward part of themselves. And people say, and it doesn't matter how vile they are. You can, even if you hate a criminal, this is serial killer, or a racist, or a bigot, or a Nazi, or a rapist, or a serial killer. In reality, maybe we can hate the crime, but we shouldn't hate the criminal. We should have compassion for the criminal. And really, in a higher sense, we shouldn't even hate the crime, because in the higher view, it serves some purpose. The person who the crime is done to must have done the crime in the past lifetime, and that karma is coming back to them. From the Lord's perspective, the Lord is in control of everything, like a puppet master controlling everything in the universe. The Lord is good, and the Lord created everything intentionally, with love, with compassion for us. Everything was created. And there's darkness and there's suffering so that we can appreciate light and happiness and enjoyment. But also there are dark forces in the world. There's violent forces in the world that bring back to us intense karma that we may have put out in the past lifetime. And for those really great yogis, they may not even have this kind of karma, but the really bad things happen to them anyway to test their faith and to purify them, to help them give up the remaining parts of egoism and self-hatred that prevent them from having pure love and connecting with the higher self. We've got to have love and compassion for those who oppose us. We've got to try to help them. We don't have to support the bad deeds that they do. We don't have to say that it's a good deed if it's a bad deed. We should speak up and say it's a bad deed. This man should not kill multiple people. This man should not rape women. This man should not be a bigot and hurt people of other traditions, of other races and nationalities. We have to speak against these kind of acts. But the person who does the act, we should have love and compassion for, and we should speak on their behalf for mercy if we have the opportunity. We all need a little bit of mercy. We all have things that we've done bad in our past, things in which cases we've been selfish, or we've been mindless or thoughtless, that we've neglected other people, that we've tried to hurt other people, that we've taken advantage of other people. We can't live in this world just having all punishment, punishment, punishment. No one would ever grow and learn It's really through compassion, forgiveness, that we grow and we transform ourselves and we release all the karmas. And so there's a simple practice for forgiveness that I talk about a lot that my Guruji taught. For forgiveness, if you have any resentment towards someone, you can take a flower petal, or if you don't have that, you could take a blade of grass or some leaves, or you could take pinches of raw rice and hold it to your heart and feel it as you say it and say, I love you, I forgive you. Get a picture of this person. If you can't do that, write their name on a piece of paper. You have them there before you and practice feeling it. I love you, I forgive you. If there's any lingering resentment, if there's a trace of it, we can eradicate it this way. We've just practiced feeling the love when we think of the person. And we retrain ourselves. We retrain ourselves. We've trained ourselves unconsciously to be angry at the person, saying bad things. This person doesn't deserve my compassion because of this. People are quick to make excuses. We should pretend everyone is a sister or a brother or a beloved family member. We should pretend everyone is like a small child. People have a lot of compassion for small children because they're still growing, they're still learning. If the child has a temper tantrum, and I spoke about this before, we don't get angry, we don't get afraid. That child can't hurt us, it's a little child. The child could be yelling terrible things. I hate you, I hope you die, I want to kill you. But we won't be afraid because it's a little child. Instead, we'll have compassion. We'll say, okay, this child hasn't been taught how to behave. This child must be having some intense emotions. Let's see what's going on for the child. Let's see if we can comfort this child. People much more often with a child have that response. With an adult, they become afraid, they become upset, they become judgmental, they lose their sense of compassion. But we have to understand that souls go through a process of growth and evolution as well. And there's some very young souls living in the world, and some older souls living in the world. And when we see those older souls, we can tell by their sense of compassion for others around. Mainly we see it by that. By their sense of detachment also, that they're not upset by the bad things that happen so much, and they're not pleased by the good things that happen. They just say, okay, whatever. If they have equanimity in their mind as the good and bad things happen, then you know, they're probably a great yogi. They're probably an older soul. We need to go to a soul like that and bow to them and touch their feet and receive their blessings. Probably some people get upset with me for saying this, but there's a Swamiji I respect a lot living in India called Nithyananda. Nithyananda was very popular Swamiji. He was talking a lot on YouTube, and everyone was watching his videos. He had millions of views on his videos. biggest YouTube star guru. Very popular, just talking about yoga and the third eye and chakras and mysticism and spiritual techniques and all this. And a very good speaker, eloquent speaker, good storyteller. And people loved this Swami. And they were going to make him the head of the Madurai Adhinam, the monastery there in the Madurai, of course, in Tamil Nadu, where they have the Meenakshi temple. And they made him, the current head of the organization, made him the head of the organization. But the people got very upset and they started rioting because this Swami had a scandal with some Bollywood actress. He, of course, is wearing orange in many cases and teaching his monks to practice brahmacharya, celibacy. And so then they have some video footage. He's with some Bollywood actress in the video footage, and he's It looks like she's giving some massage or something. He's laying in his bed. She's perhaps in the bedroom with him. I don't know. He says some of the video is spliced or edited or something somehow that it makes it look worse than it may be. But he's definitely, you know, he's touching with the Bollywood actress. Who are we to judge? I mean, who are we to know what happened? Who are we to get so angry? That's one thing I don't understand. Why get so angry? I'm not so angry. I don't have impurity like I'm trying to tell people I'm doing one thing and I'm doing some other thing, you know. I don't tell everyone you should practice brahmacharya either. I tell people probably it's a better path for you to get married, just like all our Vedic sages had gotten married. But a lot of people, they got very, very upset at this Swamiji. And so they put him in jail. They took away his title for the Adinam, and they put him in jail for several months. I think they accused him of some fraudulent thing with the money. He got let out. Maybe it was not true what he was accused of. And they found no proof, and they let him out of jail. But of course, in India, justice is somewhat different than in America. In America, you're innocent till you're proven guilty, and they'll treat you very good. When they put you in the police car, they'd put their hand on your head to protect your head, so you don't bump the head, because then you can sue the police. In India, they may beat you up before they take you to jail. They just take you to jail and punish you, and then we'll see if you're guilty. In America, it's more like we hold you until you can have a fair trial by a jury. It's a little bit different in the way they practice it. And even many times they'll then let you out of jail on bail. And so he went to jail for some time. And he came out of jail, and they interviewed him, and I saw him, and he's just so happy, he's smiling. They're asking him all about it. You know, like, well, did you do these things? No, I didn't do these things. And you know, and they ask him again, well, why did the people say you did these things? He's like, I don't know why they lied. They lied, but I don't know why, you know. But he's just so happy. And he talks about his time in jail, and he says, this was really great because I got time to myself. I got to do more of my sadhana. I got to deepen my sadhana. I got some good new ideas to teach to my students. And he came out saying that it was a wonderful experience, smiling as much as he had been smiling in his YouTube videos before. Now he has no YouTube followers. No one wants to watch his video. They hate him. They say he's a fraud. He's everyone's example of who the fraud is now. He was the biggest success to now the most hated Swamiji in India, probably. Yet he's smiling, and on the bottom now, and he's very low. He's smiling just like he was smiling when he was on the top. He doesn't look upset. He doesn't look downtrodden. He's got some equanimity in his mind, and I respect that. I don't know, what's true or not true of this scandal, but I respect that. That to me is a sign he could be a very great older soul. But there's younger souls also. They don't have the experience in the world. They have ignorance. They don't have wisdom. They don't have experience. They're seeking every experience they can, and they're taking advantage of people. They don't want to live a spiritual dharmic existence. They want to hurt everybody. They want to steal from everybody. They want to have sexual relationships with everybody. They just want to take what they can from this world. They may take a lot of wine and eat a lot of meat and all these kind of things. They don't have compassion for the animals. They don't think that far. They don't feel into it. They don't have the subtle awareness to feel the pain and the suffering of the animal when it died. They just taste the meat and they say, oh, this tastes good. And the meat clogs up the shrotamsi. The Ayurveda says the channels in the body, and meat clogs it, especially if you eat too much. And then you can't feel your emotions. And of course, that young soul is going to be hiding from their feelings. I don't want to feel sad. I don't want to feel angry. I want to feel dull. I want to feel drunk. I want to have pleasure in this moment and not think about all that. The older soul will be feeling into it, meditating on it. I ate this food. How does it make me feel? How can I get this food from a more sustainable source, from a more ethical source, from a source that treats the animals better? we don't eat any meat, we don't eat any eggs here, and we minimize our dairy a lot also because we can't find a good ethical source for the cows. Part of the reason we want to go to a farm, because then we can have cows and have good quality dairy. Ayurveda recommends good quality dairy, but it's so hard to get in America because they have no compassion for the animals. They make a distinction. They say, well, this is just animals, and animals are bad, and God gave us animals so we could torture them and take advantage of them. No, God gave us animals to test our compassion, because the animal cannot speak for itself, so we have to speak for the animal. The animal cannot defend itself, so we have to defend the animal and protect the animal. It helps to develop our higher qualities, where it helps us to indulge in our lower qualities for the younger soul. But we've got to understand that younger soul is just born into the world, may have only had 100 lifetimes. That wise, older soul may have had hundreds of thousands of lifetimes to learn and grow and mature spiritually. So we can look at everyone realistically, truthfully, like a child. Their soul is like the soul of a child. And we can have compassion. I don't mean we have to make friends with the criminal. I don't mean we have to bring them into our home and let them steal from us and hurt us. We don't, and it would not be wise to do so. But we should try to help them in whatever way we can. And we should have compassion and love for them. If you truly have love for yourself, you'll have love and compassion for everyone else, without exception. We can't make those exceptions. People in America make those exceptions. They say, well, the dog and cat we keep in the house and they're friendly, we like them, we can't abuse them. There's laws against abusing animals like this. But then there's laws that allow the abuse of other animals in the meat industry and in the hunting practice. There's special laws that say that abuse of these animals is okay. The cow is not considered an animal worthy of our compassion. The chicken is not considered an animal like this. The pig, they kill them and they torture them and they treat them terribly. Terribly. It's the same way that an intolerant person makes an exception. They say, oh, well, I have to be good and kind and compassionate. I have to treat people well, except for this person is a Muslim, or this person is a Hindu, or this person is a Jew, or this person is a Muslim, or this person is a Protestant, and this person is a Catholic, or this person is black-skinned, or this person is white-skinned. The white people are evil, so it's okay to hate them. The black people are ignorant and inferior. It's okay for me to hate them. This is what people say. Or that this person is an Indian, this person is from China. This person is from India, this person is from Pakistan, this person is from Mexico, this person is from USA. This person is from Israel, this person is from Palestine. Based upon all these things, race, gender, nationality, all kind of other things, sexual preference. We get all these excuses. And in all those cases, we're not talking about something bad the person is doing. We're talking about something they cannot control. The nation they were born in, or the caste. This person is Brahmin, this person is Shudra, this person is outcast, or whatever. People discriminate based upon all this. They can't help where they're born in life. That's not the earlier Vedic tradition. In the Vedic tradition, the person who acts like a Brahmana is a Brahmana. The person who acts like a Brahmin is a Brahmin. If that Brahmin stops doing puja all day long and teaching and blessing and helping people, healing people, they give up that Brahmana dharma. If they take a job working in a hospital, working for someone else, they become a Shudra. If they're a doctor in the hospital working for the hospital board, they become a Shudra. Not a Brahmin anymore. That was the Vedic way. And also the person who's an outcast can rise up. Just like Vyasa, born in the caste of the fishermen, the outcast of the fishermen, rose up and he's a great Vedic rishi. So many of our rishis have stories like this. They came from the lower caste, and many of our rishis were women, rishikas. So we can't look down on people for these things. It's really what a person does, not where they came from. And spiritual, saintly people have come from all walks of life and all nations on earth. Now, many more come from the East and many less come from the West, because the West is very focused on materialism. And the East is starting to make the mistake of copying the West and focusing more on materialism. But the East traditionally has been more mystically focused on mysticism, spirituality. And the East still has much greater focus on this. There's people throughout the Eastern countries that are doing many hours of sadhana a day. And in America, you can barely find one person who does 2 hours a week, not 2 hours a day. It's a very different emphasis in the society. But nonetheless, I came into this body in America. And here I am doing the sadhana and talking to people about Dharma, living more like a Brahmin. I'm not saying I'm a Brahmin. I don't really believe in all this caste system. I don't believe in nationality. I don't believe in gender. I don't believe in race. I don't believe in any of these things, really. We are souls who come into this body for a short time. And when we die, we'll shed the body, just like you take off a jacket when it gets too hot. When it gets too cold, you put the jacket back on. We'll take a new body. We'll be different race next time, possibly. Different gender, very likely, next time. So people can't choose all these things, yet we judge them based upon it, and we say it's okay to treat these people bad. It's okay to hate these people. We have to have some enemy, some recipient for our hatred, because we can't give up our hatred toward ourselves. To really practice daya, compassion, we have to have love for ourselves. We have to forgive ourselves too. If you did bad things, of course, try to make up for it. If you stole something, go pay it back. If you stole a book, you can go to that store, even if it was 20 years ago, go and offer that store back the money that the book is worth today. Not 20 years ago, today. Because the inflation. If you hurt someone, apologize. If you said harsh words, apologize and say kind words. We can make up for the wrong that we've done, and we have to forgive ourselves. But once we've done that, we can look in the mirror and do that same practice. I love you, I forgive you. You are a good person. We have to have compassion toward ourselves too. Because in many cases we punish ourselves with stupid ways of thinking. I'm too young to make a lot of money. I'm too stupid to go into this profession. I can't be a doctor. I'm too stupid to go to medical school. Or whatever. We limit ourselves with these bad thoughts about ourselves. And we deny ourselves good things. I'm not worthy of this good thing because I did bad things in the past. I can't allow myself to be happy because others are suffering around. We have to be happy. We have to have happiness to give happiness to others. We have to have compassion toward ourselves, to have compassion toward others. We may need to heal some of those things as well, but really, the focus is wrongly on having compassion for yourself. That turns into egoism. Taking care of yourself, shutting other people out. Really, we need to practice compassion toward the others. When we have compassion toward everyone else, really, genuinely, then we have true compassion toward ourselves as well. And so we've got to practice that. Put ourselves in those people's shoes. I've told this story before. There's always something you're missing when you're not understanding a person's situation and you're angry at them and you lack compassion. There's always a piece that's missing. I've told this story before, but there was a guy, he came to an event I was at, and he was very rude, and he came late, and everyone was waiting. And he came in, and he was smoking a cigarette inside the building. That's not even legal, but certainly not appropriate in this particular building we were in, definitely. He came in loud, talking loudly. And I was thinking, wow, what's wrong with this guy? He came late, he made everyone wait, and now he's making a commotion, he's creating a scene, he's disturbing everyone else that's here. What's wrong with this guy? He had a brother that was very different. The brother came in silently. I didn't even know he was there. He was there the whole time. He's sitting quietly in the corner, just looking very nondescript, very normal clothes, very neat and tidy, very quiet in the corner. I didn't notice him. But later on, someone told me a story about them, that when these boys were in high school, their father left their mother. And this is a conservative place where we live. The father left the mother and married another man, I believe. Maybe he even had a sex change, and this was before everybody. Now everybody has the sex change, but no one was doing that then. I don't know. I don't remember the full story, but something like this. And when I heard this story, it enabled me to have a lot of compassion for him and to understand the situation, because I can understand what type of anger they would have to face, what type of bigotry, what type of insults. And so with the one, he's trying not to be noticed. No one notices him, they won't come and attack him. The other one, he's diverting. He's creating a distraction. We're not going to talk about that situation. We're going to talk about my cigarette in the building. We're going to talk about this disruption I'm currently creating. Either way, they're trying to get away from the attacks that they must have faced. It's a traumatic experience to be judged and attacked by other people. It would be a good experience for everyone for some time to have to go to a foreign place and live like a minority there. To be not speaking the language of the people there, not the same nationality, not the same culture, not the same race. To live there as an outsider, to experience that, will help people to have compassion for people from different walks of life, people who are underprivileged. We've got to have love and compassion for everybody without exception. And really, the more wisdom you have, the more you know about people, the more you can understand their situation. But if you don't understand their situation, learn about it, ask people about it, ask them about it. There's one quote I like. It's attributed to one president of the United States, Abraham Lincoln. And I think a lot of people misunderstand this quote. If I'm understanding properly, definitely from my perspective, I like this quote a lot. He said, they say he said, I don't like that guy. I should try to get to know him better. Something like this. And I like that quote. I think some people take it to mean, I don't like that guy, I don't trust that guy, I should keep him close so I can keep my eye on him. But I take it in the opposite way, that he may have had the wisdom that if you really come to know somebody, it's impossible to hate them. If you come to understand their situation, where they came from, why they're struggling, it's only natural to have compassion. If people are acting out, acting badly, we've got to find out why. We don't have to find out why, but if we can't have compassion, we should try to find out why, so we can have compassion and so we can help them. Only by helping others do we build ourselves up. We think in this very materialistic way that if you steal something from someone else and you take it and you put it in your pocket, you have that thing. I don't think in this way. People think if I can get a free handout, I want this free handout. If I can win the lottery, I want to win the lottery. If anyone's giving something for free. My guru, one of my gurus talks, he says, you shouldn't even take something for a sale price, for a discount price. Because you may wind up owing something. And our place in this life is to pay off our karmic debts so we get free. By giving, we get things spiritually. By giving, we get the karma to receive things in the future. By taking, we just get the karma to have things taken from us. And we just build up the ego. It's really through giving. Give away the credit for your accomplishments. Give away the name and title that you have or whatever. It doesn't matter. Give away all your excessive possessions. We don't need all these things. We should all be taking some of the money that we make and giving it to, number one, giving it to our Guruji and our temple. 10% of our earnings we should be giving to our temple or our Guruji. But then also we should be taking some of our money and our time and giving to some worthy charities that help people who are suffering. That feed hungry people, clothe people, give housing to people who are homeless. These kind of organizations that rebuild the homes of people who've been devastated by natural disasters. To medical facilities that help needy people, to research facilities that help bring forward the science of medicine. All of these kind of things. If we can spend some time doing these charity work, it helps us to develop the compassion. And that's why they say in yoga we should start practicing the bhakti yoga. We do bhakti yoga first to get the compassion for everybody. It's necessary to make our next steps. I said bhakti yoga, the karma yoga first. The service, the yoga of working and helping other people, or even just offering time in the temple. But really, if we can get in and do that real karma yoga of going and cooking the food and feeding the hungry people, or helping volunteer in a hospital where they're understaffed or whatever, it helps us develop compassion and tolerance for other people, and understanding and empathy and wisdom about the world and the ways that other people suffer that we don't have to experience. Only later then can we practice the bhakti yoga. When we have that compassion, then we can start to try to get an experience of the divine. Without that compassion, we won't really get it. All of our pujas will be misguided, misdirected. We'll be praying for selfish things and we'll be invoking asuras, not the devas. We can't have the experience of the divine until we have the compassion and the nature to serve and help others around us. Once we have that nature, we can start to have the experience of the divine, and that gives us courage to persist in the higher practices of yoga. And so it's a very important practice, daya, compassion. Om.
We finished the recitation of the Gayatri mantra for Shakambhari Devi, and now for our Japam practice we will be doing the Devi Panchakshiri mantra. The Devi Panchakshiri mantra is the 5-syllable mantra of the goddess. It is the same as the sacred Panchakshara mantra, Om Namah Shivaya, with the addition of the Shakti Bij Hreem. It uplifts consciousness to the highest state of peace and bliss. It empowers our spiritual practices and grants liberation from all troubles. Though its literal meaning is Om, I bow to the goddess who empowers divine peace and consciousness, whose seed syllable is Hreem. True understanding of a mantra is in the spiritual experience it bestows to the seekers, as it elevates their level of awareness through dedicated practice over time.
We will do 108 repetitions of the mantra. Om Hreem Namah Shivaya. 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 Om Hrim 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 Namah Shivaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
Sit silently, spine straight, the shoulders back and relaxed. Close the eyes. Allow yourself to see the inner light of the divine radiating from your heart. Distracting thoughts or feelings come into the mind. Allow them to be. Witness them without hesitation, without judgment, and without analysis. Allow the light of the divine to heal them, bringing deep peace and wisdom. Let this light heal you. Invite that experience and allow it to guide your consciousness and impel your actions for the highest good of the three realms. Om. Om. Puja is the traditional system of offerings, coupled with mantras and visualizations revealed by the sages to help people seek the assistance of divine beings in their lives and spiritual practice. Puja ceremonies can be simple, as in the case of the offerings made daily in the homes of millions of Hindus, or extremely complicated, as are the rituals of temple consecration, which require the participation of hundreds of devotees and dozens of well-trained priests. The oil lamps, fruits, flowers, water, herbal incense, and other offerings provide prana, or subtle nutrients, for the devas and other inner realm beings to send blessings to the physical realm. Sacred mantras open a channel to the inner realms. The effects of puja are powerful to bring about peace and healing. During puja, problems are mysteriously resolved, and answers to difficult questions arise spontaneously, by the grace of the many inner plane beings working to fulfill our prayer, empowered by the sacred mantras and offerings. We are conducting a simple Pancha Puja of 5 offerings. These offerings relate to the 5 elements and are Pushpa, a flower, which symbolizes the ether element; Gandha, sandalwood paste, connected to the earth element; Dhupa, incense, symbolic of the air element; Deepa, light, symbolizing fire; and Naivedyam, food relating to water.
Om Adya Purvokta Evam Gunavisheshena Vishishtayam Asyam Shubhatithau Sri Soma Matha Sanghasya Asmakam Sah Kutumbhanam Kshemasthirya Virya Vijaya Ayura Roga Aishwaryanam Abhivriddhartham Shri Shakhambhari Devi Prasada Siddhyartham Yatha Shaktya Shri Shakhambhari Devi Pancha Pujam Karishe Om Apa Upasprisya Om Jata Veda Zezunavama Soma Marathi Hato Nidahati Vedaha Sanah Parshadati Durgani Vishvanaveva Sindhum Duritatyaknihi Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha Om Bhurbhuvasvaha Asmin Chitrapathe Sri Shakambhari Devim Avahayami Sthapayami Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha Gandhan Dharayami Gandhasyopari Haridra Kumkumam Samarpayami Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha Pushpam Pujayami Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha Dhupam Agrapayami Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha Deepam Darshayami Om Amritamastu Amritopastaranamasi Om Pranaya Swaha Om Apanaya Swaha Om Vyanaya Swaha Om Udanaya Swaha Om Samanaya Swaha Om Brahmane Swaha Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devye Namaha Naivedyam nivedayami, Tambulam nivedayami, Amritapaniyam samarpayami. Om Yopam Pushpam Veda, Pushpavan Prajavahan Pashuman Bhavati, Chandramava Apam Pushpam, Pushpavan Prajavahan Pashuman Bhavati, Ya Evam Veda, Yopamayatanam Veda, Ayatanavan Bhavati, Rajadhirajaya Prasaya Sahine, Namo Vayam Vahi Shravanaya Kurmahe, Same Kaman Kama Kama Yahmahyam, Kameshwaro Vaihi Shravano Dadhatu, Kuberaya Vaishravanaya, Maharajaya Namaha, Yo Vedado Swarah Prokto Vedante Cha Pratishtitaha, Tasya Prakriti Linasya Yah Parasamaheshwaraha, Narayanye Cha Vidmahe Shakambhare Cha Dhimahi, Tatno Devi Prachodayate. Om Am Sham Shakambhari Devi Namaha, Om Bhurbhuvassuvaha, Om Avahitabhyas Sarvabhyo Devatabhyo Namaha, Vedokta Mantra Pushpanjalim Samarpayami. Kale Varshantu Parjanyaha, Prithve Sasya Sahitni, Desho Hyam Kshobarahitaha, Brahmana Sandhu Nirbhayaha, Bhagavata Sandhu Nirbhayaha, Sajjana Sandhu Nirbhayaha, Sarvechana Sandhu Nirbhayaha. Swaste Prajabhyah Paripalayantam, Nyayena Margena Mahimahishaha, Go Brahmanebhyah Shubhamastu Nityam, Lokah Samastha Sukhino Bhavantu, Aim Kara Hrim Kara Rahasya Yukta, Shrinkara Gudhartha Mahavibhutya, Om Kara Marma Pradipadinibhyam, Namo Namaha Shri Guru Padukabhyam, Ajnana Nashanaya Vidmahe Jnana Prakashaya Dhimahi, Tapno Guru Padukah Prachodayate. Om Shatamanam Bhavati Shatayuh Purushashatendriya Ayushevendrihe Pratitishthati. Om Sahatna Vavatu Sahatna Bhunakto Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om Tatsate. Shri Devi Arpanamastu.
We offer this Sangha freely. Remember to join our Patreon, volunteer, donate, and please help spread the word about our upcoming move. Namaste.